right. Welcome back to People Who Teach, a podcast about the habits, beliefs, and ideas of real people who teach. My name is Brian Seppi, one of the co-hosts here, alongside my talented colleague, Mr. Andrew Stella. Andrew, how are things today, my friend? How are things in the classroom? How are things for you personally?
Good, good. We just got off a spring break, which is great. Got some time to relax, rest, recoup, much needed. And just like you and me, we're in the same area that we have about 10 weeks left of school. So until summer. So it's a long stretch just getting prepared for it. How have you been?
A long stretch. It is a long stretch. I tell you, that break was great, like you said. And we had fantastic weather for it here. If you stayed locally in Western New York, there was just amazing weather, which sort of made things feel longer. The break felt a little bit longer than a week, which was fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt.
So today's episode, Andrew and I are really excited to bring this episode to you because it's an episode about like real productivity, habits, hacks, routines, systems, or even tools that we're using. And one of the things that has always like fascinated me is like, how are you getting things done? How are you able to accomplish all that you have to do in a day as a teacher? And this could span anything from the work you get done in the classroom when it comes to managing all of your lesson plans or getting all of your assessments in order, to managing your calendar. I know, Andrew, you've talked about this before and offline, is like you're in all of these meetings and, having a way and a system to organize what it is you're bringing to all these meetings and how you're sort of orienting yourself to like, what meeting am I in? What day is this? What's my role in that meeting? That takes a great deal of sort of skill around that. And sometimes you have to have those routines that sort of wrap around you and keep you sort of in check or in a system that is productive for you. And as a coach, one of those things I think about is being across 4 buildings right now. How am I being productive, both in and on campus and also away from campus? How am I getting myself to be productive outside of school so that I can be productive inside of school? So that's our episode today. I'm excited to launch into that. Andrew, anything you have about productivity, how it's keeping you in check, and then maybe you can launch us in with your first tool.
Sure. Yeah, this spring break was a big one for me because I felt like I needed to get a grip on everything that was going on. I had a lot of pieces in different places, a lot, like you said, a lot of meetings going on, a lot of things that I had to keep track of. And I've always been pretty organized.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing that I really looked at was Google. And how can I maximize Google? And it really started with a TikTok post with a former guest that we've had on our podcast, who was Mr. Tyler Tarver. And he actually shared this on his TikTok. Was on your Gmail, there's a little side tab on the right-hand side. And if you open that up, you can get your calendar, you can get your tasks, which I've never used the tasks on there. Sometimes I use like Post-it notes and I've had things all over the place. So you'll click on the side and you can have like a to-do list tasks. You can also have that calendar up there. So what I did was I had that open, and the cool thing too is you can take meetings from your Gmail and drag it into your task list. So if you know you got something coming up, you just drag it right over and it's like, I have this meeting. It's like a big to-do. Isn't that cool?
Wow, that is cool. I'll have to give that a look. So the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of your...
No, there's like a whole bar on the side, and it has like the calendar and the little pencil. Yeah, and I it's one of those things that is there, but you never like really play around with it much.
Or you're not sure like how to use it in your day-to-day until you actually confront it and start to use it in practice, right? Like commit to it the first 3 days back from a break or something like that, right? Like that sort of mindset. Oh, that's great. That's a great share.
That's and that's just the tip of the. I feel like with Google, I mean, you've got the other thing too is your calendars. Getting your calendars in order, getting them color coded. I got my workout calendar. Things for me too. My workout calendar. When am I going to work out? When do I have to move that around? My school calendar, which we worked on. We have a Google website where teachers can go and access that calendar. So everybody's on the same page, and I can control that just from one Google Mail. So I'm not going to talk too much about Google, but when you really maximize Google, I mean, and I'm sure I can do a ton more, and Tyler could probably help us with that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a lot of possibilities, and you can stay very organized with Google. So that's my first one.
I love that one. That is super, and glad you shared more about the Google Calendar. And yes, color coding and really making sure that you have all of your calendars detailed and color coded and organized makes a big deal. Yeah. So my first one is just a simple old school analog planner. Now, I'll say this. When it comes to the high performance planner, I believe in it. But I'm in between two right now. So instructional coaching, Jim Knight, we worked on an instructional coaching planner. So I was part of the pilot group for him. So I'm sort of letting the cat out of the bag, but I feel like he mentioned it last night in one of our clubhouse rooms. So I feel like I have autonomy to make sure that people know that he's got a calendar for instructional coaches coming out this summer, and it is going to be a disc calendar. Now, why this is important is it helps you figure out things. There are pages in there that actually help you figure out like how you're spending your time. There are also pages in there where you can do some note captures in the margins. And I think having a planner that works for you. I'm not going to subscribe a planner onto you. I think it's really incumbent upon you to make a decision about how you keep a planner for yourself. But I know for me, having the day-to-day check-in in my planner, ways that I'm setting up my day, whether I'm marking down in this particular planner here, how I'm marking down tasks that absolutely must be done today. That's exactly how it is stated across the top. 3 top goals that I have for the day. And then there are, you can leave messages to yourself, these sort of mantras. I have an article coming out next week and a podcast that I'm doing for Choice Literacy around mantras and the importance of having mantras. But this performance planner, if you will, gives me the opportunity to kind of put that onto the page as I start my day. And that little productivity hack gets me on path for the day to actually see the good in what it is I'm doing and to really stay focused in my lane. So having a planner that matters to you, where you can kind of doodle and write and sketch out some of your day-to-day. And again, like you said, I balance this because it's like my actual time stamps are something I have to reference digitally through Google, but a lot of my sort of mind work or notes capture is done in a planner. So having a planner matters.
Oh, I love that. See, I looked into planners, and when I looked into planners, I looked into like a Rocket Book. You ever hear of those?
Yeah, I have one. That fell apart for me a little bit because having the particular pen, I just felt that I was just, it didn't connect enough for me. It was super great, and the novelty is fantastic. Yeah. What did you figure out when you came across those planners?
Well, there's something about grabbing a pen, right? Like being able to grab a pen and a piece of paper or a Post-it note, or smacking the Post-it note in there, and this will lead me to my next one, which I was going to do one, but now, I'm flipping this around because this lends in so well to what, so actually I was looking into the Rocket Book, and, it wasn't for me. It just, I was the same thing with you. Something just didn't feel right. I don't know. So I've got this iPad, and I have an Apple Pencil, and I saw something, how Instagram ads pop up based on, I don't know what you're looking at on the internet. And I was looking at Rocket Books. So this thing came up, and it was like a digital planner. And I was like, man, I'm just so digital because I'm teaching remote. It would be nice to have a digital. And then I thought to myself, but you have Notability in an Apple Pencil. Why are you not just using that? So I've heavy been using that. And it's really been nice because I've been syncing it to my Google, pulling it. I just gave some of my students the PAST assessment, the phonological awareness assessment. Yep. And I was giving it to them, and I just pulled it right from Google Drive, started writing right on top of it, right on my iPad. And it's really nice because even if you're giving it to another teacher, you just zip it right out from your uploads from Notability. So,
right. That's huge. And that's actually so funny you say that. When we first rolled out, iPads at Westminster, and I was the technology coach at the time there. And one of the things that we found right away with Notability was we were able to do running records on Notability long before doing running records on Notability was like cool and like a thing that people were doing. this was like 2012 and we were doing running records in Notability. We were uploading it as, a document and able to get that in there. So yeah, I just feel like the upside of Notability is just like you said. And if you're already familiar with it, like you said, why go down the other digital paths when you're finding a way to make a tool that already has some utility for you, make it work for you. I love that. I love that little digital notebook space. That's great.
And when you see, and it's just like you said, Vision showed me. Vision was the first one to show
That's
me
right. Yeah.
Notability on iPads with running records,
Yeah.
but they have a recording button. So when you're recording that kid reading in that moment,
Yeah.
wow, is that powerful? You can see you're checking for MSV, you're checking comprehension, you're seeing exactly what the student's doing. So when you sit down to really coach or
Yeah.
collaborate with colleagues,
Yeah.
it's like you're there.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I love that one. All right. So we've got Google Calendar, and then we talked a little bit about having a planner, and then you took us down the path of having a digital planner, a way to keep records. So that's 3 fantastic starts. And we'll just kind of put a little plug in here in the middle, just for people who teach. If you are interested or know somebody that is interested in coming on to the show, People Who Teach, we would love to hear from you. Please go ahead and reach out to us. You can find us all over social media. Our handles are here on the page, and they are linked in the description if you are listening to this. So please reach out to us. We want to hear from you. All right, now back into this show. We are at the halfway point. We have 3 tools down, or 3 habits and routines down, and we're on to our final 3. So my next one that I firmly believe in is the To-Do app. Right now, this is a digital tool. There's a premium version for this. The To-Do app. This is TEUX To Do. I'll put the link in the description. This has been something that's relatively new for me. I have long stumbled my way through to-do lists when it comes to having to-do lists in my planner, or having to-do lists on post-it notes. And I got to be honest with you, it's something that I feel really good in the process of getting my to-do list out onto the page. And then I feel really good when I get the chance to cross out those to-dos, right? And so having a digital to-do list is relatively new for me. But what I found with this particular one is that it is based in columns. Okay. And this is like a $2 a month subscription. I really love it. You have your day-to-day to-do lists. Now, as I mentioned in podcasts before, for me, having those routines around productivity and developing the habits for productivity are something that I really have taken great stock in and great value in over the years. I've been working on them. And having this to-do list, you can put recurring to-dos on your to-do list that just sort of carry over day to day. Now, you still get the chance to click them off in to-do. And I'll do a little video about this and put it up on my YouTube channel at some point, or Instagram. But what it is anything that I'm doing. So my morning routine, gratitude practice, or my morning writing, or my morning reading. I have all of those on there as recurring days, so that each day I go in there, I'm like, yep, did that, feel good about that. And then I have my next to do. And all of my to-dos are listed as actionable steps. Could be something from, batching emails, or making sure that I connect with colleagues, or if I'm hosting a room with you, per se, say on a Wednesday on Clubhouse. I have all of those things on my to-do list. They get long. These to-do lists get a little bit long for me, but there's something really valuable about seeing your list. Now, I also have it on my phone as well, my to-do list. So you can have it as an app. It is right here on the, I don't know if you can see that, on the app for it, right? But you've got, today is Thursday. I've got a choice literacy meeting. I've got a Western New York teacher residency observation. I've got a start a letter of recommendation for a colleague, fantasy book club template, series book club templates. So I've got all of these to-do lists on there, or to-do items on there, and I get to click them off. Now, when I click one of them off, it goes ahead and you can have the option for it to race a cat across the stream as it kind of, or the screen as it clicks off of that to-do list. So there's something nice and finishing about like, hey, look, I see the cat running across the screen with my crossed out to-do item. So to-do is a great, great tool, digital tool that I think for relatively inexpensive, $2, or you can even just use the free version too. So to get started. So that's my big tool there. Turn it back over to you for point number 5. We're at 5. We're at 5.
I love that. I got to try it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going to
cool.
try it right after this.
Yeah.
Now you did mention too, though, that with the free, you can't do recurrings though, right?
You can't do recurrings, and there are some other lists. So what it does is it pops out a column of lists for your days of the week across the top.
Mhm.
And then below that, you can add columns for yourself. So things like shopping to-dos, if you have
Mhm.
like groceries or something like that, or you could put in lists around like, I have mine is labeled as like books I want to read or ideas
Mhm.
that I'm having. So I just have these collections of like lists that happen at the bottom, movies I want to watch, even though that's, something that
Mhm.
doesn't really come up for me that often. But books I want to read is down there. I have also, like I said, ideas that I come across in a day. I will just sort of pop them down and generate a list down there, so you can have additional columns in the bottom.
Yeah, see, that's so important. Just having that organization. I throw books in like my Amazon cart and stuff like that. Or, I know I'm in the middle of 4 different books right now, or I
Yeah.
have them, but I've also been finding a lot of value in Kindle as well.
Mm.
And like just using Kindle because like when you highlight like a part of Kindle, you can actually like text it out now to other people. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so if I send it to you, I just sent it to a colleague and I was like, "We talk about this all the time. It's in this book."
Yeah, that's
So
great.
that's a side note, but
Yeah,
we love reading. So
that's right. That's right.
all right, so the fifth one. So this one for me, I mean, could you tie it to being more productive in education? Sure, but more productive in like overall life. So a few years ago, my brother, he is big in the supplement game, and he was working with a meal prep service company that's in New York. They're called Eat Right Foods, and I'm not endorsed by them anyway, but Eat Right Foods. We stopped by there, and he got a protein shake, and I was like, I'm really hungry, and I got a wrap, and it was fantastic. And that was a year and a half ago. So somehow I got an email or I signed up for something and I saw that there was Eat Right Foods. And over break, I had a lot of time to think and reflect. And I kind of took a break from work. And I said to myself, like, I wonder how much it is to meal prep, to get a few meals. And, because right before the spring break, my wife works in the school too. And we were constantly either getting lunch or skipping lunch. And we were spending money, and next thing you know, you're getting it for some colleagues and they're Venmoing you, and next thing you know, you spent 40-50 bucks, and I got money all over the place. And also we were struggling with the kids, sometimes want to eat different things and they don't want to eat what you want to eat. So I said, how much, we looked into it. How much is it? Surprisingly, really inexpensive. You're looking at about $5-6 a meal. And these things are like under 500 calories. You're getting like salmon, good chicken wraps. You pop them in the microwave for 2 minutes and you're good to go. And I am like, I don't know. I just love them because
That's
it
awesome.
takes it takes that need. I have 3 kids. I
Yeah.
teach full time. We're doing Clubhouse. We're doing podcasts. We are busy,
Yeah.
and just like your to-do list is huge. And to me, I'm probably going to spend the 70 or 80 bucks during the week just on meals alone. So I
Yeah.
might as well just pre-plan it. And I've done it for about 2 weeks now. And I'm telling you, I've been a lot healthier because
Mm,
I don't need to eat. I eat like a chicken bowl with like veggies and stuff in it, and I feel good.
that's super.
Yeah, like, and I also feel ready to work out at the
Yeah.
end of a long day of teaching too. Like I ran 4 miles today, and it wasn't a big
Congrats.
deal. Yeah,
That's amazing.
we're reading and running, you
Dude,
know?
it's so complicated if you think about all the things you're trying to do in a day, and then it's like,
Mhm.
I some days I'm just sort of uh, you know, amazed that I was able to get through it. Like tonight, I still have a 9 o'clock baseball practice with 18U with an 18U group that'll go till 10 o'clock. We're doing a podcast right now, as you mentioned. I mean,
Mhm.
and like you said, you ran 4 miles. You're on a podcast now. You've got to pick up your kids. You're late to pick up your kids, actually. And so it's one of those things where it's like it's amazing. And like you said, eating healthy is one of those things. I know, just to kind of illustrate your point, which is when I get in the car, the first thing I do is I call Karen and I say, look, um, what are we doing? What are our dinner plans? Like, what are we doing for dinner? And you're right, to have that off your plate, to know that you have either a dinner plan. Now we've gone the same direction as you for productivity's sake. We've gotten a meal subscription through one of the meal subscription. I think it's Dinnerly or one of those, right? Comes
Mhm.
with the recipe plan, but those 3 meals a week, we know we have something that's planned because we are busy. We're in the middle of seasons and things like that, and coaching and all these things. So having that to not be just sort of an afterthought of picking something up that maybe is fast food and, like you said, maybe a little bit out of the ordinary for you, being able to solidify something that is planned and healthy, and also, like you said, really reasonable in cost. I think that's the key, is like
Mhm.
that cognitive tax that you pay for that just feels like now it's off your plate. So that's really, really smart. I love it. So we were down to our final one. This is it.
Mhm.
This is number 6. Oh my gosh. All right.
Yep.
So we'll recap now, or should we recap in a minute? We'll recap in a minute.
Sure.
Let's do it that way. All right. So my last one is this. Okay, this comes from the inspiration of Dan Pink. Dan Pink is just a master genius. I got some of his books back here. Such a great writer. Anyway, this comes from his book, When Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. And in this book, we'll put a link to that there too. In this book, he talks about, he calls it the power of 5. Now, I call it the power of 2. So anytime I'm doing a task, something that I know is going to last longer than the time that I have allotted for it. So let's just say I'm batching email and I've only given myself 15 minutes or 10 minutes in the morning to do this. Or I'm doing push-ups, right? Something as simple as push-ups, or reading or writing, right? These are all areas that I use this. So in writing, I'll sit down to write. And when I feel like I've exhausted how much I can possibly write, I will put myself on the clock for 2 more minutes. And I'll just say the power of 2. And I just say it out loud. It's really hokey. I say it to myself, like the power of 2. And I just put the timer on and I let it run for 2 minutes. And whatever happens in that 2 minutes, I just know that I extended the time of focus for 2 extra minutes. Therefore, I'm capable of doing more the next time. So that power of 2, as a simple hack into your brain a little bit to make you go a little bit longer. Everybody can say, it's very easy to say, I don't have an hour. I don't have a half hour. But it's very rare that you meet somebody and you're like, well, do you have 2 minutes? And you're like, yeah, of course I have 2 minutes. I've got that. And so for me, doing something like that is the power of 2 or 2 minutes. So when it comes to things like physical activities, whether you're in the weight room or you're going
Mhm.
on a run, you could do 2 extra minutes on your run, or you can go maybe 2 extra reps for your push-ups. And those are things that I try to push myself for. And it doesn't have to be every set or anything like that. Just every once in a while, I'll just ask myself, to be more productive, to get the most out of this moment, can I go 2 more? Right.
Mhm.
So 2 more minutes, 2 more reps, any of that. So I think the power of 2 is a big one that I keep tucked away. And thanks to Dan Pink for that one. So we've got a really cool list. I'm curious to hear what other teachers would say. And so here's our quick rundown. Andrew talked about the power of Google Calendar and making sure that you have everything sorted in a way, from color coding and really buffering some time for yourself. Then I went into talking about having a physical planner where you're not just doing like your day-to-day timing of things, but you're having time to actually be productive around your thoughts and ideas. Right. So, and then Andrew brought it back to having, in addition to that, having a digital planner that makes sense. There are a lot of planners out there, but having something that you're already using. For him, it was using Notability. and saying like, hey, look, I've already know the vast, robust nature of Notability, and I'm going to continue to use that as a way to be productive. I brought up the To-Do app. It's a simple to-do list. It has some cool features, but honestly, it's pretty basic and gets the job done around having your to-do list in front of you day to day. And you have the option for having some elements move over and carry over to the next day automatically for you. Andrew talked about, and I think this one is arguably my favorite on the list, which is being productive around things outside of the workday. So really putting in time and some structure around meal prep. And for him, he found a way to get these meal preps done so that he isn't spending energy thinking about what it is he's having for lunch. It's sort of a grab and go, and he's got that already carved out for he and his family. I love that one. And then finally, I talked a little bit here towards the end about, I'm drawing a blank on it. Oh my gosh.
The power of two.
The power of two. Oh my gosh, it's sitting right in front of my face. Yeah, the power of two. See, but that's because I didn't. My list only goes so far. I didn't write the last one down because I was talking about it. So the power of two. This idea that anything you do, you might have two extra in you. So whether you're doing something that involves reps, right? Like, do you have an extra 2 reps that you can put in to be more productive in that moment? Or if you're writing or if you're reading, can you extend your reading or your writing by 2 extra minutes? Put yourself on the clock every once in a while. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's a way to extend your productivity in a manner that really matters for you and getting the most out of your time. That's an amazing episode. I feel really productive that we had this episode.
I feel productive about being productive, right?
That's the best. That's the line right there. I feel productive about being productive. That is super. Right. So that is it. Andrew, why don't you take us out, and hopefully we will be able to connect back on another episode. We'll get this one up and running and let you take us out, and that'll be it.
Yeah, everyone. So like Brian said, about halfway through our episode, we are looking for people who teach. Really anybody who teaches. We do have a website. If you go to the website, we do have a Google form on there that you could fill out. You could also go on our social media platforms, DM us, contact us personally. Definitely just reach out. We are usually on Clubhouse on Wednesday nights at 6:30. A lot of people are finding a lot of value in it, just sharing out what works well. Things like this, productivity, and just, being there for kids is one of the most important things that we are all about. Being there for kids, being there for teachers, being there for people who teach. So if you are finding value, please subscribe, stay with us. And we look forward to having some more guests on our show. And that is it. Another wrap up episode for Brian and I.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being here.